Alright, today we're going to go over the 2.6 homework, part 2. It's the second video for this. So it's page 133. We're going to start at 34. And I believe we're going to try to go to 48 even. And we're going to get as much time as we can. So we're going to start with 34. Alright, 34, we have x to the 5th minus 3x to the 4th minus 5x cubed plus 15x squared plus 4x minus 12. Now remember, that exponent of 5 tells me there could be up to 5 answers here. But I'm still going to start everything the same way, where I find my p, and then I find my q. I say that what are the factors of 12? Well, 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4. How do I get 1? Just 1 and 1. So when I make my p's all over my q's, it's really easy, just plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 3, plus or minus 4, plus or minus 6, plus or minus 12. And then I make my box. Put all these numbers here on the inside of the box. 1, negative 3, negative 5, 15, 4, and negative 12. I'm going to guess 1 to start. Put 1 outside the box, so I drop down this one. 1 times 1 is 1. I get negative 2. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Then I get negative 7. Negative 7 times 1 is negative 7. Drop it down to get 8. 8 times 1 is 8. 4 and 8 is 12. 12 times 1 is positive 12, which gives me no remainder, which means I start with one answer. X is equal to 1. This means I now have x to the 4th minus 2x cubed minus 7x squared plus 8x plus 12. So now I make another box. I'm going to put 1, negative 2, negative 7, 8, and 12 inside the box. Since my 12 is the last number is the same 12 I have here, my list stays exactly the same. So this time I put negative 1 outside. Drop down the 1. Negative 1 is negative 1. Negative 3 gives me a positive 4. Gives me a negative 3. Sorry, I made a mistake. Negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3, which gives me negative 4. So positive 4, which gives me 12. So I have negative 12. No remainder. Which means I have x cubed minus 3x squared minus 4x plus 12. So that's going to be my next box, and I have another answer. So I put my box right here. This time I put these numbers in. So these numbers tell me up there 1, negative 3, negative 4, and 12. And now I'm going to try 2 outside the box. Because I tried 1 and negative 1, I just tried 2. Drop it down. 2 times 1 is 2. Negative 1, negative 2 gives me negative 6, gives me negative 12, 0 remainder. So I have 2 as an answer. Now I end up with this right here. It was x cubed, so now it's x squared minus x minus 6. And that's factorable. Negative 3, positive 2. I set it equal to 0, so x minus 3 equals 0. So x is equal to 3. X plus 2 equals 0, so x is equal to negative 2. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 answers. 1, negative 1, 2, negative 2, and 3. And I'm done. And that's it for 34. Alright, I just copied 36 from the book. It's x cubed plus 7x squared plus 2x plus 14. And here are your possible zeros. The book says 1, 2, 4, 7, and 14. The book forgot the negatives, or the plus or minus sign. So I have plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 4, plus or minus 7, plus or minus 14. That's really all there is to 36. Alrighty. 38 says write a polynomial function f that has a leading coefficient of 4 and has 12 possible rational zeros. Now remember, so I am going to make something up. It doesn't matter whatever it is, I'm going to make something up. The only rule is you have to have a leading coefficient of 4. Well, that's just a fancy way to say q. So you're going to have 4x to whatever exponent you want. I'm going to put third. Then you can put whatever you want, plus x squared, plus x, plus, we're going to pick a number here. We're going to pick a p. So we have to pick a number for p. We want p over q to be plus or minus one answer, plus or minus another answer, plus or minus we want 6 blanks filled in because these 6 blanks are going to each be worth 2 zeros. So notice, like, let's say I picked 1. Right? I think that's the easiest one, to pick 1 for p. That would give me 1 and 1. And how do I get 4? 1 and 4, 2 and 2. So if I write out all the possible zeros, it'd be plus or minus 1 over 1, plus or minus 1 over 2, plus or minus 1 over 4, and that's it. See how there's only 3 this time? So 1's not enough because there's only one factor. So I have 1, 2, 3 different factors here, 1 different factor here, and it gave me 3 answers. So your factors of each multiplied together are going to give you a good estimate of how many zeros you have. So if I want 6 blanks filled in, I'm going to pick a different number for p. I'm going to pick 3. Because if I pick 3, I'm going to have 2 different factors. And 2 factors times 3 factors from 4 will give me 6. So let's see. I'm going to start 1 and 3. Those are both over 1. Then I'm going to say plus or minus 1/2, plus or minus 3/2. Then I have 1/4, plus or minus 3/4. And that works. So this is good. That's it. 40 had a couple options. 40, you could have basically just wrote out your thought process for 38. But the mathematical thing is we're going to say that your factors, the number of factors, you're going to multiply the number of factors of p times the number of factors of q. And that's the max. Remember, that is the max since we eliminate repeats. And that's it. So for example, if your p was equal to 2, there's 2 factors, 1 and 2. If your q is equal to 10, that's 4 factors, 1 and 10, 2 and 5. plus all the negatives. So I multiply 2 times 4 to get 8. And remember, since you have plus or minuses, 16 with your plus or minus. Alright? So that's how I find all those factors out. And that's it for 40. Alright, in 42, they gave you a graph. They said, here's your function, x cubed minus 3x squared plus 2. Remember that x-intercepts are solutions. So if you solve it, and your x-intercepts are crossing, you can figure out which graph it is. So I'm going to do everything the same, where I'm going to find my p and q. So there's my p, there's my q. I do my p's over my q's, so I have plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2. And then I'm going to make my box. Now remember, you need a placeholder, because there's no x to the first power. I'm going to put 1 on the outside. Drop down the 1. 1 times 1 is 1. Negative 3 is 2. 1 times 2 is 2. 0 and 2. This should be negative 2, which makes this negative 2. One times negative 2 is negative 2. No remainder. So 1 is a solution. So since x is equal to 1 is a solution, eliminate a, because that doesn't have x equal to 1 as a solution. So now I go again, x squared minus 2x minus 2. Right. This is not factorable, which means none of our other options are going to work. So I have to use the quadratic formula. So I say x is equal to the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c and then 2 times a. So I get positive 2 plus or minus the square root of, this is 4. 4 minus 4 times minus 2 is plus 8, so it's square root of 12 all over 2. Those can be in decimals, and it will look like option B. Because it will be half of that. The first half is going to look like close to, it's going to be like 2.7. The other half is going to be like negative 0.7, 1.7. So it's going to work out perfect for not option B. I lied. Option C, graph C. Because the other two intercepts don't cross at nice points. And that's it. Alright, 44 says, is it possible for a cubic function to have more than 3 real zeros? And no, since graphs can only have at most the amount of solutions as the degree. And a cubic equals x cubed, so therefore that little 3 tells me it can have at most 3 zeros. Can't have more than that. And since all x cubed graphs look something like this, they're always going to go up and to the left, or down and to the left, up and to the right. They're always going to go in opposite directions. It will always cross at least one time. And that's it for 44. That's it. 46 says you have a swimming pool, and it's rectangular, so it's going to be kind of like a box like this is right here. Alright? And it's going to be in the ground. The width of the pool is 5 feet more than the depth. So I don't know the depth. So since I don't know the depth, I'm going to say this is x. All right, that's why that's x. So I'm going to say this is x plus 5, because that's what the book just says that. It says the width is 5 feet more than the depth. The length is 35 feet more. All right. They say the volume of the whole thing needs to hold 2,000 cubic feet of water. So we want to know what dimensions did this pool have to be. So the first thing I have to know is I have to know that volume is equal to length times width times height. So my length is x plus 35. My width is x plus 5. And we're going to call the height the depth, so it's x. And that's equal to 2,000. So I have to multiply the right and then set equal to 0. So first I'm going to take the x to everything because that's going to make my life a little bit easier. So I say 2,000 equals x plus 35, and then touch that part. This is x squared plus 5x. Now I'm going to FOIL. I have 2,000, I haven't done that yet, is equal to x cubed, because I do the first. I do the outside, I get plus 5x squared. I do the inside, plus 35x squared. I do the last, I get plus 175x. Now I'm going to subtract 2,000 from both sides. Because once I have it equal to 0, I can solve it just like I've done every problem before. So I get 0 equals x cubed. Combine those to get 40x squared plus 175x minus 2,000. Now this looks like a problem we've done before. So that's all we're going to do. So this is 46 still. And remember, we turn this problem into this, x cubed plus 40x squared plus 175x minus 2,000. All right? So now I'm going to find my p and q. So there's my p, there's my q, and I'm going to write out all the factors of 2,000. I gave you guys a hint in class that you didn't have to go that far. So 1 and 2,000, 2 and 1,000, 3 doesn't work, 4 and 500, 5 and 400, 8 and 250, 10 and 200. So when I make my p's over q's, you can go more. There are more factors, but I promise you that's more than plenty for what we need. Plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 4, plus or minus 5, and so forth. I do not have to check to guess negatives. Since length is real. Not just real. Length cannot be length cannot be negative. Alright? So I'm going to make my box. I'm going to put 1, 40, 175, negative 2,000. Drop down the 1. 1 and 1 is 1. I get 41. 41 gives me 2. 16. 216 going to give me a remainder. So 1 doesn't work. So now I'm going to try 2. 1, I get 2 times 1 is 2. 42, I get 84. I get 259. And 259 times 2 is going to be 518. That's not enough. So now I need a different number. This time I'm going to try 3. 1 and 3. 43. 3 times 43 is 129. I get 304. Multiply that 2, I'm going to get in the 600s, which isn't big enough. So 3 is not going to work. So I'll put 3 here, cross it off, and now I'm going to try 4. Put 4, 40 plus 4 is 44. 4 times 44 is 176. That's going to give me 351. 4 times 351 is not going to give me 2,000 positive. So I know 4 is not going to work. So now I'm going to check 5. 1 times 5 is 5, 45. It's going to be 225, which turns into 400. 5 times 400 is 2,000. So that's my remainder, or that's my no remainder. So that means this works. And since I don't need any other options, I just want one that's going to work. It doesn't say find other options. And actually what you find out is this isn't going to give you any nice numbers. So I'm going to plug in 5 here, here, and here, which means my length is going to be 40, my height length equals 5 plus 35, which is 40 feet. My width equals 5 plus 5, which is 10 feet. And my depth, or my width, equals 5 feet. And then we're done. And that's it. Other thing we have to know, guys, I'm checking 48 for accuracy. But you will need to know the form. It'll be just like you did 46. Except your formula, volume is equal to, in this case, it's probably easier to use length times width times height all over 3. And I think that's it. For some reason, I'm thinking I missed a problem, but I can't think of one I missed. So that's it.